Blaenau, and welcome to video number 2 in the series of Railways of Wales. Today we are at the Ffestiniog Railway.
Porthmadog station.
And Ffestiniog is at the other end of the line, so I believe they used to do stuff like mining up at Ffestiniog and then brought all the slate from the blue slate from Ffestiniog to Porthmadog, and then that railway line would have extended over there and loaded it onto ships, took it abroad.
Yeah, I think you're right. Good background there. This big wall across the harbour here is called the Cob, and the railway runs on top of it to the locomotive works, which is at the far end, and a road runs across it as well. And you see Porthmadog Harbour there, and the station just at the end on the corner there. You excited, Simon?
Yeah! Blaenau, and welcome to part 2 of our Big Wales train adventure. In April 2024, we visited Wales for a few days to see some heritage railways. In the first episode, we travelled on the Blaenau Railway, and today we visit the Ffestiniog.
Wow, look at that! I can smell it, and it smells to me well.
I thought it was going to be much smaller than that. Very interesting. I think it's some sort of buckeye that couples as soon as the coupling from the loco touches the coupling from the coach. This is the observation car.
What do you think of our coach, Simon?
It's gigantic.
It's bigger than the ones on the
Romney Highland Dim Church.
Yeah.
And it's definitely bigger than the 00 scale we have at home. And this is the very strange release for the window.
Seen one like that before? Yeah, it's a leather strap. You've got to pull it. Careful, it might be heavy.
Now, you can.
See if you can pull it out to get the window up. And then you've got to hook that hole over the metal pin, that's right, and then it stays there.
The Ffestiniog Railway Company is the oldest surviving railway company in the entire world. It was founded in 1832. Like most narrow gauge railways, Ffestiniog was never grouped into one of the big 4 railway companies, nor did it become part of British Railways. The line first opened in 1833 to transport slate from the quarries at Blaenau Ffestiniog to the harbour at Porthmadog, where it could be loaded onto ships and boats to travel where needed. It was operated by horsepower and gravity. The route is downhill all the way from Ffestiniog, so the empty wagons were hauled up the mountain by horses to be loaded with slate at the top. Then the horses rode back down on the train with the full wagons and a brake operator who could slow the train down. Whee!
I really love this table, which shows a map of the route of the line carved into it.
The first steam power arrived on the line in 1863 to speed up the movement of slate. Because of the steep gradient, very powerful locomotives were needed. The arrival of steam meant that the railway could start to offer passenger services in 1865. The Ffestiniog was the very first narrow gauge railway in Britain to carry passengers. In 1869, the first articulated double fairlead locomotives arrived, and these have become the most recognisable traction on the railway. More about these later. By the 1920s, the demand for slate was in decline, and by the 1940s, the railway was completely abandoned, but was never formally closed or dismantled. The line soon became overgrown and unstable. In the 1950s, however, there was a lot of interest in reviving the route as a tourist railway. It was bought by Alan Pegler, the same person who rescued Flying Scotsman from being stranded in America, and a group of volunteers began restoration in 1954. The first public passenger trains resumed over part of the route in 1955.
As the line was gradually restored and reopened, part of the route had to be redesigned to go around the newly built reservoir at the Ffestiniog hydroelectric power station. This deviation includes a very interesting spiral where the route crosses itself to gain enough height. This is one of only 2 railway spirals in the UK. The company also had to build a new tunnel, as the original one had been flooded by the reservoir. Trains finally returned to Blaenau Ffestiniog in 1982, 150 years after the company was first founded.
Here's where we crossed the line we were just on, just now. It's a little bit of a lumpy ride, this. It's like a roller coaster.
It's a really beautiful route. Because it is so steep, the loco has to work really hard the whole way up, which leads to some wonderful sights, sounds and smells of a hard-working steam locomotive. After heading across the Cobb at Porthmadog, the route curves inland as it passes the Boston Lodge Works. This is where the ascent really begins. The loco stops to take on water about halfway up at Tanny Bilch, and then continues around the spiral onto the deviation through the new Molwyn Tunnel, and then past the Tanny Grisau Reservoir. The line then winds its way onwards and upwards until it eventually reaches Blaenau Ffestiniog, where it terminates.
Here we are at the other end, Blaenau Ffestiniog. It's a little bit rainy, but we've had a brilliant ride. Simon and I think we might have a new favourite heritage railway.
Yes,
it's been an incredible journey up the mountain, and it climbs so high.
And on the other side, there is the Network Rail actually, so it might be a big train.
And here's the standard gauge coming through the other platform. Well, this one here closest to us, that's narrow gauge still, but standard gauge over there. And I guess the loco's going to run round on this in a minute.
Well, what if they both come at the same time?
Oh yeah.
Precise.
Beautiful. What do you reckon, Simon?
Brilliant.
Cloud of smoke. I didn't even stop.
The Scottish engineer Robert Francis Fairley invented the design of the double Fairley locomotive in 1864. It has a double-ended boiler with a single firebox in the middle.
Like that waterfall?
Incredible!
Yeah, it's good, isn't it?
Every wheel is driven and the wheels themselves are on articulated bogies, which enables the relatively long loco to negotiate tight bends easily. They can also be driven equally in either direction, so they don't need to be turned around. I think this is a brilliant design and also leads to a really interesting looking locomotive.
About halfway back down now. Really enjoying the ride.
On the day of our visit, the loco in operation was called James Spooner. It is the 7th locomotive to be built by the Ffestiniog Railway Company themselves in the works at Boston Lodge. It is named after a previous FRCo, which in turn was named after the first manager of the railway. It entered service very recently, in late 2023. I didn't know if it opened.
You've managed it, well done. Let's go have a quick look at the loco before we head off then. Setting over the headboard. Have you had a good time, Simon?
Yes, of course I have one.
We've had a brilliant time on the Ffestiniog Railway. It's a brilliant journey. It's got a bit rainy this afternoon, but we've loved going up and down the mountain. You had a good time, Simon?
Yes.
Yeah.
My favourite part was when we were going up in the hill, and then suddenly a very long tunnel came like out of nowhere.
Yeah, that was a good bit, wasn't it? Yeah, I think this might be a contender for our favourite heritage railway.
I don't know. A close second is the Norfolk. Come back soon for the next part of our big Welsh train adventure. It doesn't get much better than that.